Running with Maverick and Wolfman. Hey guys, we've got a special guest today. Maverick here.
Wolfman here. And with us is a runner, hiker, PT, among other things, Gwen.
Hi, guys.
Hi there.
Gwen.
So, Maverick, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Oh, yeah. Gwen, Mav, Gwen.
Thanks. You're a little late, Dylan. I mean, Wolfman. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries.
So, what are we talking about?
Whatever you want.
Whatever I want. I feel like
we've got questions for you. We got questions.
All right, just start with questions then.
Do you want to start, Mav, or do you want me to start?
Well, I'd like to know, what was the last adventure you've been on?
All right. The last adventure, I don't know if it was really an adventure. I ran a half marathon. I hadn't run one in a really long time, and I ran a half marathon down in Virginia. So I drove 7 hours, spent the night, got there at like 8:00, woke up early in the morning, ran the half marathon, drove 7 hours home, worked the next 2 days, and I was so sore I was limping around, and a patient asked me, what's the matter with you? What did you do to yourself? And I said, well, I probably wasn't the smartest thing. I went and ran a marathon and then got in a car and sat in the car for 7 hours driving home, and now I'm really sore. She goes, that reminds me of a phrase I heard one time. She goes, don't take this the wrong way, but there's a fine line between badass and dumbass. So that was a little bit of an adventure because I just drove down by myself, ran the marathon, and then drove home. But other than that, hiking the Appalachian Trail in 2021 was my last really awesome adventure.
So did you complete the whole trail?
I did. I went from Georgia to Maine. I started, March 27th and finished August 31st. So 5 months, 5 days.
But there's more to the beginning of that, though, I believe, Gwen, that you're skipping.
You mean the whole debacle of 2020?
No. Like, how long after a second hip replacement was that?
Yeah. Oh, that.
Just a small detail.
I forgot about that. Yeah. I was supposed to hike the trail in 2020, and COVID hit, and they actually shut the trail down. They were actually kicking people off the trail, and I wasn't even going to try that. So I decided to wait until 2021. So I'm doing all my running. I actually even trained for a marathon in 2020. I trained for the Shamrock Marathon, but they canceled the marathon. So I trained for that, and that was part of my training for the trail. I, putting in lots of miles. So I thought, okay, well, all right, I'm just going to do it in 2021. So I kept running through the summer, and I started getting really bad hip pain. I had already had a right hip replacement. Started getting really bad pain on the left. And I thought, oh, no, this is not happening. Got worse. And then I got the burning groin pain, and I'm thinking, yep, there goes my labrum. That's it. Off to the doctor, same doctor that did my right hip. And he takes the x-ray and looks at it, compares it to the other hip. And he goes, you know what I'm going to tell you. And I said, yes, but I really don't want to hear it because I'm supposed to hike the Appalachian Trail in March of 2021. And here it is. I think I went to the doctor somewhere around I think it was like late October. It was late October. And I'm like, no, I'm leaving for the trail. And he goes, well, we better do this now. So I had the surgery December 21st, 2020. And I was on the trail March 27th, just 3 months after.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a little crazy. So my trail name was Hip Hiker. I mean, because I'm cool, of course. I'm really a hip hiker, but also because I just got a new hip. Yeah. So, and then I still run. Yeah, I still run on my hip. Both hips, both new hips. Yeah.
I have to say that I don't think I've ever had a patient get a hip replacement and then hike the Appalachian Trail 3 months later.
Oh, well, there we go. I feel like a champ. again, there's a fine line between badass and dumbass. Wasn't sure which one that was going to turn out to be, but there you go. Turned out I'm just
I
a
have
badass.
I have a good friend who did the Appalachian Trail and got injured on it, and then had to jump off, get rehabbed with me, and then go back. And it's pretty impressive that you were able to complete the whole thing, and especially after the hip replacement. So
yeah, I think a lot of it is luck. I mean, yeah, people get injured. I would several of the people that I met along the way never finished because they were injured. Happens.
How was the sleeping like after the hip replacement on the trail? Like, because you're just sleeping anywhere, right? Like, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, I was in my
bag
tent
down, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm in my tent on the ground, and best sleep I've ever had. You wear yourself out during the day. My hip was fine by the time I started the trail. I had zero pain. I was having the compensatory pains, like because, well, when I got the first hip replaced, then I was a little off kilter because my left hip, unbeknownst to me, had also started to go bad. So I was losing height on the left side. So when I got the left side fixed, it finally evened my legs out, probably for the first time since the reason I had it was I broke my pelvis in a really bad accident in 2005. So probably for the first time since 2005, I was walking evenly. So I was having some compensatory pain, but I knew that, and that was okay. You can work through things if you understand it. So yeah. Other than that, nope, never bothered me. I was crawling around on the ground and leaping up. I mean, there's rock climbing on the Appalachian Trail. There are places you have to put your poles in your pack and you're climbing up rock with your hands and legs. There's some shifty places. Yeah.
So I know, Gwen, that you did a lot of miles to prepare, and you had a weighted vest and things like that. Did you prepare for the climbing? Like, did you do anything for that?
No. That just you just kind of have to deal with it as you come up to it. And there's a couple little climbs. I think the first one was actually in Pennsylvania. Once you come across, I want to say it was somewhere near Palmerton. Before you go up this hillside near Palmerton, you actually have to do a bit of a rock climb. And I was by myself. There was nobody even around me. And I got myself on this ledge and I was like, ooh, I can't move. I can't go back and I can't go forward. And I just kind of sat there for like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, all right, I can do this. And finally I got myself up and over the next set of rocks, but I got scared. Yeah.
Sure.
And then I got a lot better at it. By the time I got to, New Hampshire, you're definitely starting some rock climbing. Maine, you're definitely rock climbing. There was one point where I was going up a place called, I think it was Saddleback Mountain. And this was I'm going to say it was still in New Hampshire. No, it was probably in Maine. I was by myself. It was in Maine. I was climbing up and the rock was a little slippery. It was early in the morning and by myself again. And I went to go boost myself up and I put my boot on the rock and I hadn't put my hiking poles away, but I put them, I had my hand up on the ledge up above me to help pull myself up, but I slipped and I somersaulted backwards and landed, I don't know how many feet down below, but I landed and I thought, oh my God, like, what? Oh, I probably just really hurt myself. But I didn't. That's what I mean. It's luck. This kind of crap happens to everybody on the trail. And it's just a matter of luck, whether you wind up going in an ambulance or getting up and going, I'm okay. Keep going. So, yeah. But I think the other part of it too, and this comes into physical therapy and running part of it is, you don't go out like you guys have said before on your podcast, you don't go out and just run 20 miles when you haven't been training for it. So I think a lot of the people that do get injured are people that haven't prepared their bodies properly. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I did a lot of ankle strengthening because I knew I've sprained my ankles in the past. You sprain them once, you're always at risk. So I did a lot of ankle strengthening. I wore boots and everybody laughed at me because all the trail people now just wear sneakers, and fine, go ahead and sprain your ankles. I'll see you in the ER. So I did do a lot of prepping, like, of my body. I ran, I did hiking over really rocky areas living here in Pennsylvania. So, I mean, I do think some of it probably wasn't luck and some of it probably was preparation. Just like, if you're training in a marathon, you train for it and you're going to finish probably with some pain and whatever, hating it while you're doing it, but you finish and you're okay. But, you don't train for it. And those are, that's where you get injured. Anybody want to hike the Appalachian Trail?
Now that no one wants to do it. It sounds kind of like when you read stories about Mount Everest, the same kind of stuff. Like you have to kind of have the right luck mixed in with preparation.
Yeah. You have to be willing to know that you may fail. I mean, it was hard for me to even call myself a thru hiker until I got well over halfway, because people would say, "Oh, are you a thru hiker?" And my answer was, "Well, I hope to be." But you just don't know. There's always that. You never know. Only 20% of the people that set out to do it finish.
Wow.
Yeah. So you don't know.
Yeah.
I was lucky.
Yeah, I know my friend said that he was enjoying it more when there was people around, but once he got to the point where it was just him pretty much all day, he was pretty bored with it.
Oh, I'm totally opposite. I used to try to get away from the people. I'd make up excuses. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to catch up with you guys later. Never see him again.
It's funny. Another funny story that he told me, I don't know if you can tell me about this or not, but he I guess there's like places to sort of camp, like like, I don't know, they're like open, but they have like roofs or whatever.
Yeah, they're lean-tos. Yeah, they're three-walled. Yeah.
3 walls. Okay.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how like the one night he was in one of those, and there was this like noise that he heard like on the like top rafters or whatever.
I know where this is going.
he like, he woke up and another guy woke up or whatever. They're like, okay, yeah, well, I don't know what that is. And they go back to sleep. And all of a sudden they hear it again. And then somebody shines a flashlight on it. And he said it was the biggest freaking rat he's ever seen in his life. It was like a house cat running around. He goes, screw this. He goes, I'm going outside. He's like, I'm not going to stay in here with this stuff going on.
No, thank you.
Yeah. I did not like staying in the shelters. Like, I only did it if there was, severe storms or, danger of trees blowing down. I did not like staying in shelters. I was very happy in my tent by myself. Yeah. Like there were stories of like people had mice run over their faces in the middle of the night. Yeah. And I believe it. Some guy lost a sock because some animal took off with it in the night and he was missing a sock.
A sock monster.
Sock monsters. There's sock monsters in there. Black snakes. Love those places too. I mean, and I don't know, the idea of sleeping with a whole bunch of smelly people, I don't know. Not right. Not my thing.
That's funny.
There was one part in Maine. It was in the 100-mile wilderness, and it was so many roots that you're constantly like, you're just catching your toes on roots constantly. I mean, I fell every day. Every day it was like I'd make a bet with myself. I think I'm going to fall before noon. And sure enough, on the ground. So it was about maybe like a mile and a half from the end of the 100-mile wilderness. And where the 100-mile wilderness ends, that's where you enter Baxter State Park, which is where the final approach to Mount Katahdin is, where the trail ends. I ran the last mile and a half with my full pack in my boots. I ran. I'm like, I got to get out of here. I can't take this anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, I probably would have just dropped the pack and been like, someone else can have this.
No, I had my snacks in it. And plus I still had to stay one more night because there's a whole bunch of rules you have to follow. So when you get to Baxter State Park, you stay in that park. And that's like an overnight prepping. Early in the morning, you want to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and you have to race like maybe, I think it's like 2 miles down the trail to the sign up station where you have to sign up to stay at this place called the Birches. And they're only allowed, I think it was 13, either 12 or 13 people were allowed. I think it was 12 people. 12 people are allowed to stay at the Birches. And that's your last overnight stay before you summit Mount Katahdin. So you have to have a permit. You have to sign up for this. You have to get a permit. I made it. I was like number 7 or something. And a guy came, number 13, and turned away. Nope, not today. So wow. You wait there, and then it's another 10-mile hike to the Birches. So you get to the Birches. They check your passes, make sure you have a pass to stay there. And then you stay at the Birches. And then the following morning, you can go ahead and summit Katahdin. So there's this whole series of rules and, timelines and things you have to, terrible. Well, it felt like, getting your race packet at the marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a little crazy. The whole thing was crazy. So since I did that, my running has just taken a whole different. That's why I made myself run a half marathon. I'm like, I've gotten so lazy. And actually, Maverick, I just listened to you talking when Dylan was down doing his dopey thing. Right. You were talking about how sometimes it's good to just take a step back and, enjoy running again. Don't do it for times and don't do it for. So that's kind of what I've been doing since getting off the trail. It really changed my whole life perspective on things. Right. And I really do. I do enjoy running more because I don't care about times or anything.
Right.
At least that's not
good. Now. Yeah, that's okay.
Not till you guys keep talking about these marathons, and then I'm gonna get the itch again.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys.
It's different chapters. You have different chapters of your life, and you just kind of work in those chapters. Wolfman's in the dopey version.
He's in the dopey chapter.
Yeah. Not sure what number chapter he's on, but maybe he's just rereading the same chapter. I don't know.
You mean these things? I thought I'd just keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Hey, Wolfman, congrats, by the way, on that. That was pretty intense, pretty awesome feat there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You were one of the only ones I think that knew at work.
I know, and I didn't say anything. So exciting, though. I mean, how exhausted, though, were you after running sequential races like that? I've never done that, run sequential races. Other than like a Ragnar race, but.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I knew it would be tough, but yeah, it was tougher than I anticipated at the same time.
Yeah, that just had to be tough on your body. I mean, yeah. You run all those races and then the grand finale is a marathon.
Yeah. Well, so they.
And in 3:15, no less. Jeez.
Yeah. So Hal Higdon is part of the starting stuff. I think he's retiring after this year. But anyway, he said that when they first did it, he was sitting on the committee or whatever. And he's like, we should introduce this dopey event and actually have it official. And they're like, nobody's going to do that. And he's like, people will pay for it. And people do.
People will come.
Yeah, basically. And they did. So it was fun.
Yeah.
But.
Pretty awesome.
What was your drive, Gwen, to do the trail?
Well, that's kind of multifactorial. I was in a backpacking club when I was 13. So I started backpacking when I was really young. And even my first time out on the trail club, I was like, oh yeah, this is my thing. I love this. Like I remember crying one time because I didn't want to come home. Not that I had a bad home life. I love the woods better. So, I always had it in my head that I wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail. And then, life happened and, things kind of went south, and I always still had it in the back of my head. So I always kept running, and I was like, well, if I keep running and doing races and marathons and whatever, that will keep me in shape. And then when life gives me the opportunity, I'm going to be able to hike this trail. And then accidents happened, like I was in an accident in 2005 and 2008. And each time, it was life threatening. And I thought, all right, PTs, we get back to prior level of function. Well, prior level of function was I ran a marathon. So I had only intended to run one marathon ever. But because I had to recover from these accidents, and prior level of function was run a marathon. So I had to run another one, and then another one. And then it turned into several more. And then after all of these accidents and the running, and I was having hip pain and blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, gosh, I really better do this trail before I can't. So I think the drive to do it I had planned to do it in 2020 because that was the year I was turning 50. So I planned to do it then, and then COVID shoved it over to 51. But so the drive started when I was young, but throughout life, having all these accidents, just the appreciation that I can still be on my feet and get out there and do these things. I thought I want to take this opportunity and use my body for what I wanted to before I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. The more you talk, the more impressive this feat is.
Yeah. So she leaves out a lot of like big details. What was your?
Well, I had no idea how old you were either. So like now I'm like, that's even more impressive. And then you mentioned a bunch of accidents. Like, wow, that's more impressive.
Yes.
I thought you were closer to our age, but hey, whatever.
Hey, I'll
just
go with
edit that out if you want.
Yeah, bleep out the whole age thing. Just pretend I'm your age. It's good.
That sounds good. So, what was the drive to run? We're kind of backtracking now, but
okay.
How'd you begin running?
Well, you're gonna love this one. So, I think it was in 6th grade, I got my, you got your school pictures back, and I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, I'm so fat. Like I have rolls over, like my stomach is rolled over my pants, and like I threw my pictures out. I was so embarrassed. This is horrible. So I'm like, all right. I've always battled my weight. So I had tried losing weight, like even as a kid, like in 4th grade, I remember my mom dieting with me. Lifelong battle. Anyway, 6th grade, that was it. Looking at those pictures, I was done. I was like, all right, who are the skinny people in school? I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, the cross country team. All right, that's it. I'm joining cross country. So I joined cross country. I run everything they run. I run as fast as my chubby little legs can carry me everywhere. Had to carry Vaseline in my bag because my thighs would rub together so hard. They'd like, if they weren't starting a fire, they were bleeding from blisters. So I had Vaseline in my bag because they make you wear those stupid short shorts. So I thought, by the time I get to high school, I'm going to be skinny like them. Nope. Chubbiest kid on the cross country team all the way through high school. But it did develop a good habit. And I made the pact with a friend of mine while I was in high school, like, we're going to run a marathon someday. And then that didn't happen. I didn't run a marathon until 2004. Yeah, 2004 was the first time I ran a marathon, but I never got rid of that. You get that little bug in your head. So I actually ran my first marathon on my honeymoon to my now ex-husband, but yeah, it was our honeymoon.
What marathon was that?
That was Marathon by the Sea in Canada. St. John, Canada. Along the Bay of Fundy.
Sounds fundy.
It was fundy.
Like Wolfman's next marathon.
I don't know.
Marathon by the Sea. It just sounds magical. Nice, doesn't it? Marathon by the Sea.
It sounds interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah. And that first one was the fastest one I ever ran. I am not fast by any means, but that was the fastest one. And then my marathon times got slower after that every time I ran. So that's hard mentally, when you're getting slower every time, but I have to remember too that I was also in deadly accidents after that. So you have that. Sure.
Right.
So how many marathons have you ran?
What?
How many marathons have you ran?
10.
10.
Yeah.
Wolfman, what are you at?
I think Disney was 13. I'd have to double check, but I believe Disney was 13. So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm happy with 10. I don't really feel like I need to ever run another one.
I mean,
I've got 0. I'm pretty content with 0 too.
Yeah, I can't believe I actually did run 10. The intent was to only run 1, so I'm happy with 10.
In college, my answer when people would ask me about marathoning was I'll run 1, qualify for Boston, run that, and then never do it again. That was my original idea. Thus far, that's not looking good. I don't like that at all. Because I got to run a lot faster. Not qualify for Boston than
Not if you wait a year or two, and then the time standard gets a little slower.
Wait like 40 years, maybe.
Well,
wait like 40 years, and then that'll be nice.
Who is the guy that you guys have talked about? Is it you, Maverick, that says like, oh, it was terrible, I'm never doing it again, and then like an hour later, all right, so that qualifies me for next year, right?
That was my brother.
That was your brother. Okay.
That was the Jackal, yeah.
Yeah. I totally get that. You get done with a marathon and you're like, oh my gosh, what on earth made me do that? And then, one day later, where's my next one?
Yeah.
I don't think
I gotta let my dog out. I gotta let my dog out. She's ringing bells. Sorry. Mommy.
Okay. There are really cool parties after marathons.
I don't think I've ever run a race and then said I'm never doing that again. I would say there were some races that I had some races where I felt as a team we should never go back. I felt that the place was terrible or something. The course was bad, but I would do it again. I just didn't want to.
Yeah. I don't know. It's rough. Even after that last half marathon, I was like, oh man, I better just hang it up and run with the dog for fun. That's it. I have a border collie, so she if I have to spell the word out, and now she's learned to spell. So she, I have to be really sneaky because I can't even hint that we're going out until I'm absolutely ready, because she sits down here and whines because she can't wait to go for a run.
Right. My dog has gotten to the point where you can't say walk. So we would start saying W, and then he figured that out. So now we can't say walk or W. So we have to like stop talking and then be like, I'm going to go take the dog for nothing.
Do you run with your dog or just walk the dog?
So I've kind of tried to run with my dog, but my dog goes from running to sprinting and then to pulling on the leash and trying to tackle me, basically. Like he doesn't really run.
That's probably really entertaining for anyone watching, though.
Yes, probably not for me, because I'm always like trying not to go flying over the top of them. It's like a car coming out and then you're just trying to stop all of a sudden before you go to the hood.
Yeah, I gotcha. I'm lucky where I live. My dog is off leash. We live on an access road to windmills, so there's no cars. So she runs off leash and she's really good. I never have to worry about that.
Yeah, my dog is not like that.
Yeah, that's not your dog.
My dog's like got tons of energy, and if there's another dog or a person, like he's like a shark. He like circles them and jumps on them and goes in and goes out. It's bad.
Oh, wow.
I can't. Yeah, I can't let him.
That's too much
I have to
stress.
Make sure I have control.
That's too much stress while you're running.
Yeah, it's like the runs with him are it's his pace to keep him calm and to get him some energy out. But he's not like a regular running dog. He's not like that. Like we see people like trotting around and everything's great, and they're like, oh, look at this is my running pet, my mate or whatever, I'm like, no, that's not my dog. That's not my dog.
You don't have that. I'm sorry.
No.
That's fine.
Dylan, do you ever run with any animals or other people? Or are you usually Wolf man? Sorry. So hard.
That's right. I run with some people once in a while. When we first got our dog and he got where he wasn't a puppy anymore, he and I actually used to run a couple miles, a couple days a week at a park not far from our apartment at the time. And he did pretty good, except he would always, no matter what, even if I prepped him all ahead of time and stuff, we'd make it about 200 yards and he'd like dead stop and take a dumperoo. And then of course you'd have to pick it up. And luckily it was at a park, so there were like stations to throw it away and bags and stuff. And then he would run great. We used to run 3 to 4 miles, I think, at a clip, and he did pretty good. The first few times he went out like crazy, and I was like, well, I'm running 3 miles, so I guess I'm dragging you the last few. But then after that, he kept pace pretty good. He was really a good running dog, just not on the road. Could never run him on the road. He would I think he was just scared of the cars. He wouldn't. He'd just stop. So. But yeah, he was a good running dog.
Good running partner.
Yeah.
So Wolfman and I were talking. I have a question for you, and Wolfman. So we were talking about the strange things that we find while we're running. There's always weird things. So Maverick, what's the strangest thing you've found when you're running?
Oh, let me think about it. And I don't think I've ever thought about it. Let me see. I
mean, there's your usual, the roadkill. There's always roadkill, that you come across. There's usually different kinds of trash, or
there's clothes. There's always clothes and shoes and all that kind of stuff. Ties. How does a tie end up on the side of the road is what I want to know.
Okay, that's exactly it. Like, it's things that make you wonder, how does that get there? And I always laugh at the number of times I see one shoe.
Yeah.
One shoe. I almost want to make a Facebook page called One Shoe.
There you go.
And have all the people that have found, like you're just driving along or running along the road and you see one shoe. How does someone lose one shoe?
There's a picker in this shoe and I just can't seem to find it and I'm just chucking it. I'll make do with one.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Wolfman and I have both run home with deer antlers.
Yeah.
Have you done that?
That's probably the coolest thing I ever found.
Yeah.
Not very strange, but cool.
No, cool. Yeah.
I mean, I've found money on runs, not a lot of money, but like money, that's always interesting. Like, how did that get there?
Yeah.
I would say, I've run by like free stuff too. So I always find that to be interesting because then it's like a run by yard sale, right?
Should I pick this up and run home with it? A desk?
Right? And that's what I'm like. I'm like, should I take this with me now or should I chance it and come back and get it later?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I could run with that, but it's not going to be fun. It might not be fun to run the whole way with that. The one time there was a bike for free and the tires were deflated and it was a nice bike. I was like, that's a nice bike, but the tires are flat and like I could carry it, but it's going to kind of suck. I'm like, I guess I'll just come back for it. I guess I won't grab it right now.
I used to find the little toys and things like that and bring them home. This was in high school. And one time my dad was like, why don't you ever find like $50 or something? You just find the most random shit. Find something good.
You do. So
when I was with my family at the beach one time, we're swimming and I see it $20 floating around in the water. So I grab it and I'm like, I just got $20 out of the water. So I'm telling my cousins, and this is years and years ago, where $20 is more. And my other cousin's like, oh, that's nothing. I got $50 when I went out there. And I was like, no, you didn't. Prove it. And he takes out of his shorts, he takes out $50 and shows me. I'm like, you found that floating around too? He's like, yeah. And then he went back out and he found another $20. So we had like $70 between the two of us just floating around the water.
I would have been swimming around looking for more.
That's right? The thing. Like when my brother went out like that, he's like, I'm going to go get some money. I'm like, no, man, the cash is already gone. We already got it.
Wow. That's a good amount of money. I'd be happy with $20 now.
And then last year I found a pair of Oakley M frames floating in a wave.
Oh, wow.
Down out of the ocean.
That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. I love finding
and
stuff.
I had lost a pair of Oakleys years and years ago. So my cousin was cracking up laughing. He's like, the ocean finally gave them back.
Look, my Oakleys are back. Woohoo!
And it was funny though, because I'm like, originally, like when I saw him floating in the wave, I'm like, oh man, I just lost my Oakleys. So I was with one of my kids and I was going to grab them. And then I was like, wait a minute, I didn't wear my Oakleys. I'm not dumb anymore. So I didn't do that. And I grabbed him and I'm like, wow, I just got a free pair of Oakleys because there's nobody around. I was like, there's no one in the water. No one's within sight. I was like, this is great.
That is kind of like the universe just gave it back. It's like, I'll give you back your Oakleys now. Very nice.
I figured it out. The strangest thing I ever found running was a dead sea turtle.
What?
My wife and I were first dating. We were at, I think it was Point Pleasant, New Jersey, and I was running on the beach in the morning, and you see this thing, and I was like, what the hell is that? And then as I got closer, I was like, that's a sea turtle.
Oh my gosh.
I did not bring it home, but I did take a picture of it.
How big was it?
It was sizable. I mean, it was at least.
Oh my gosh. All right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I don't know. Other than my antler, I don't think I've really found anything. I found a vibrator once. I don't, again, you wonder how does you're just driving down the car and I don't need this anymore. Throw it out the window. I don't really understand how things get on the side.
Oh no, the cops.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but they're not illegal.
So
and it may get you out of the ticket. I don't know.
I have a cousin who lives in New York, and he finds all kinds of crazy stuff on the road. Like he just walks through neighborhoods and there's just constantly people just dropping stuff and throwing stuff out. He comes home with all kinds of stuff. And like wallets, like he'll have a wallet and he'll be like, who the hell lost their wallet and didn't pick it up? And like he'll call people and be like, listen, I found this wallet. Is this yours? And they'll be like, yeah, you found it. He's like,
that's bizarre. Like that's bizarre.
Yeah. It's like it happens because I just maybe because of the volume of people where he's at, like he finds stuff all the time and like people throwing away things all the time. And he's just always in the right spot. And he's like, look what I got. Look what I found.
That's something. It's one of those things, like anytime I run when I'm not here at home, if I'm running away from home, I'm like, ooh, new stash. Never know what I'm going to find out here. Okay, so I have one more question for you guys. What is the creepiest or weirdest thing that has ever happened to you when you've been out on a run?
So one wasn't too creepy, but it just happened the other day. And then I'll tell you the one that was probably the most unsettling is not the right word, but my oh shit moment.
Yeah.
So I saw a bobcat on my run yesterday, I think it was.
Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty cool.
That is not awesome.
I've seen bobcats up here.
So,
they're awesome looking though.
It was. Ben, so you'll probably have to cut this part out, man. But
okay.
I saw it and I went, holy, that's a fucking bobcat. Because it was only 60 yards away.
Yeah.
And, so I was telling my daughter about it and she was like, what did you do? And I said, holy shit, there's a bobcat.
What else can you do?
Yeah. I told my wife that later and then I told her what I really said. And she's like, you showed some real restraint there. But I ran up on a bear one time and I mean probably 20 yards away. And I was on a trail, Jacobsburg State Park, all alone. And I'm running, I come around this turn and up a hill and I was like, oh,
hello.
Okay. So I just slowly backed up and he turned and he went away and I waited till I couldn't see him anymore. And I was like, all right, let's keep going.
Okay. Yep. Bear's gone.
That's because you got those little quiet shoes on.
Well, bears don't like.
I don't think I had
Bears
those.
don't like wolves either.
That's true. But yeah, that was probably the only time that I was like, "Oh boy, this is
Like, wow, I'm
bad."
I am right next to a bear. They don't want to eat you.
No, he didn't seem too interested in me.
But that's really cool. It is cool though. Maverick, scary stories.
I think I told it once before on the show, but I was running early morning and I ran up a hill in a neighborhood, and there was a weird looking dog just looking at me, and I'm looking at it, and it's looking at me, and I'm like, this is a weird looking dog. And I was getting closer to it, and it wouldn't like leave the road area, and I'm like, I wish this dog would just go so I can keep my run going, because I hate stopping for like an animal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when there's an aggressive animal, that drives me nuts to stop for him. So I was like, please just go so I can continue my run. So I'm getting off pace now. So it's just looking at me real funny, and it's mangy looking, and I was like, oh God, does it have rabies? And I got closer, and then I realized it wasn't a dog, it was a coyote.
Oh.
And I was like, well, I'm going to just kind of keep an eye on it and hope it doesn't want to eat me, because it looks really hungry right now.
Oh my. Yes, these are the dangers of running in rural America. At least we don't have grizzly bears.
That's true.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'd be in trouble if we had grizzlies.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too keen on that.
What about you, Gwen?
I don't know. Probably when I was living in New Jersey, I had several different running routes, and I never ran the same routes, same days. And this guy seemed to find me, and he'd just kind of come up alongside me, and he'd roll his window down and try to talk to me. And, I'm polite. I don't want to, I don't know. I don't want to be a jerk. And this went on for a couple weeks. And finally one day he actually pulled over and got out of the car. I just remember screaming and running away. I was terrified.
Gee whiz.
Yeah.
He thought he was making progress. He's like, I thought that was going to be a date.
Yeah. And I'm like, don't touch me. Get in your car. Get in your car.
Wow.
Don't touch me. And then I guess the other, more recently, since I moved back up here, I was running with Mika up at the top of the mountain, and it was not hunting season yet, but a lot of people were like sighting their guns in. And there was a strange car. I mean, I know all of our neighbors, the people that hunt up here. I pretty much know everybody. And I was coming back down the mountain, and I saw a car over in there's these utility poles from the windmills. They have like a cutout through the forest where they go through. And there was an odd car parked there that I didn't recognize. And so I just kind of ran past. And next thing I know, I hear a gunshot and something go through the leaves over my head. And I was like, well, that had to be coincidence. And then I hear another gunshot and something go through the leaves over my head. So I actually like threw myself on the ground, and I was like, stop shooting. Because I don't know. I felt like they were shooting at me. That was a little scary. But
I'd say so.
Yeah, a little frightening. And Mika has chased a bobcat out in front of me as well. She herds things because she's a herding dog. So she doesn't chase things directly. She goes out and around, and usually will, like, if she goes into the forest, I know I have to turn my headphones down because I don't know if the deer is going to come out and hit me, like this. She chases it across the road. So I hear them coming out of the woods, and yeah, it was Mika chasing a bobcat. Pretty much like you, Wolfman. I was like, oh my God, it's a bobcat. Wow. And then just like that, it's gone because they hate people.
Yeah. Oh, it was quick. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They're it's like a flash. They look at it and they're like, oh crap, he saw me. Out of here. Yeah. They're funny. All right. Well, that answers my burning questions for the evening.
Yeah, there was that other time too, Wolfman. I don't know if you were with us with the one where we heard that weird noise in the woods when we were running down the mountain, and we didn't know if it was a mountain lion or what it was, but it was crazy
All right,
noise.
that's creepy. That's
yeah, it was.
I find that creepier when you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
No, there was like, usually we'd go on these runs with like a lot of us, and there wasn't as many people that day. And one of our buddies was like, let's go check it out. And I was like, I'm not checking that out, man. Like that does not sound like something you want to go and see. That's just something that's you're gonna leave alone. So I was like, I'm just gonna stay on the path. I'm gonna go down the mountain, and I'm gonna just let that be.
What kind of sound was it? What sound did it make?
The closest thing that I can think of, like, after hearing is like a mountain lion. That's what it sounded like. It just was super loud, and it was not right by us. It was close enough that like everybody on the mountain could pretty much hear it. You know what I mean? Everyone up on the top could definitely hear it, and it was really loud. And like I said, I was like, I'm not going back up there in that direction. I'm definitely going a different direction, and I'm hoping that this thing is not tracking us right now.
I consider that sounds pretty creepy to me. That would have scared me.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if it was like a dog or something else, but it was like, that is a noise that I don't ever hear on this run or any other run. And
I think I think we all have those noises that like it's an immediate gut punch. You're like, that's not right. That's not anything I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this, I'm not like on vacation in Colorado or something like that, where I'd be like, oh, okay, it's far enough away. I was like, no, like this mountain's not that big, and we are not that far away. There's not that many people, like it's just too many things. Like that thing could be by us in 10 seconds.
Yeah, not good. Yeah, that's a little scary.
I was running with a group one time, and we went out this road, and the one guy says to me, have you ever been out this way? And I was like, no, I mean, I know where we are, but I don't think I've ever been out this way. And he's like, well, if you start hearing banjos, run.
That's the other thing you got to worry about. You never know what kind of people you're going to come across.
We did not hear banjos.
Oh, that's good. We actually have a banjo here in my house. I can't play it though.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, good stuff.
Do you have any races coming up? Anything planned for the future?
Still debating on whether to sign up for the Scranton half marathon. Although I don't generally like big races. I just feel like that this is like too big of a race. So I might look for a smaller one just to give myself something to train for. Not that I care about time or anything, but it's something that where if I know I've signed up for that, it'll kind of force me to get out. I have definitely gotten more lazy as an older former thru hiker now. So I have to kind of give myself some incentive to run a little bit more steadily. So I probably I like to run. I like to go on, runs where I've not been there before. Like I'm going to go to a new town or use it as an excuse to go on vacation somewhere. So like even all each marathon I did was in a different state. Well, one in Canada, but then all the other ones each of them were in a different state, just to go somewhere and explore. So maybe I'll look for something in the late spring. Sounds good.
There you go.
And that was before I thought I was going to run more than one. It was like going to be a once and done. Sure. Yeah. That's what said every runner. Well, I'm just doing one.
Yeah. Just one of these.
I'm just going to do one.
Just one. Just one more. Just one more.
One more.
That's it.
Yeah. How about you guys? What Wolfman? I know you're chomping at the bit.
Yeah. I'm going to do the wine glass full this year.
Oh, good. I've done that one.
Have you? I've heard it's good.
Really nice.
And then I'll probably, Maverick wants to do a 10 miler together, and there's some local 5Ks and 10Ks and stuff I might hop into here and there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Some shorter stuff, quicker stuff, and then 10 miler or so, a couple things like that.
Yeah, I do find that I kind of need to sign myself up for stuff to motivate myself to get out.
I think it helps.
Yeah, it definitely does. So, especially now that I'm talking to you guys, and I'm like, all right, I better go look something up and sign up for it.
I've heard the Scranton.
Be best to do that tonight.
I think I'll wait till this weekend.
I feel like we just kind of started getting into this. We should probably do like another interview with you another day.
Oh no, round 2.
Yeah.
You want more?
We covered the Appalachian Trail. We covered a little bit about your marathoning, and that's about it. And
What more do you want?
oh, there's plenty more. We just I don't want to get into it right now because it's getting late. So like I said, we I feel like we should probably do like schedule another one.
Yeah, we could do it again.
If you're cool with that.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah. All
right.
My people will call your people.
All right. Have your people contact my people and
call my people.
Yeah. We'll do part 2. Part duh.
We'll get Charlie Sheen in it. Mav usually asks this question, but how can people find you?
I'm on Facebook. Okay. That's probably the easiest way. I don't have a whole bunch of I don't do a whole bunch of media stuff. But yeah, I am on Facebook, and I do have on my Facebook I have 2 different pages. One is my hiking page where I have a lot of the Appalachian Trail stuff, and then the other one is Hip Hiker. Oh, I am on YouTube, and I do have a YouTube channel. It is called Hip Hikers Adventurous Life. So I do have several videos. I did do one video just recently where I hiked up to the top of the mountain and I explored into this old AT&T building that's like been abandoned. And it's really cool inside. So the door is wide open, but I went in and I just videotaped it, and that's on my YouTube channel. And I also have the whole slideshow from my Appalachian Trail hike, which is about an hour and 20 minutes, and it's set to music, and I'll take credit for it. It's done pretty well, and that's about an hour, 20 minutes, and that's on my YouTube channel as well. And again, that's Hip Hikers Adventurous Life on the YouTube channel.
Okay. Sweet.
All right, looking forward to round 2, guys.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Gwen.
Thanks for having me. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
You too. Maverick and Wolfman running out.